All right, how's it going today, guys? So basically, we're going to go ahead and get ready for the surf. The weather's starting to warm up, the water's starting to warm up, so that means that we're going to start seeing Jack Crevalle and Spanish mackerel showing up in the surf. A lot of fun, anything on an 8 weight all the way up to a 10 weight when you get some of those big ones for those Jacks and Smacks. So let me show you a little surf fly that I've got here. It's very simple. It's just 3 materials and a little bit of epoxy, and you can definitely knock out several of these, which is important whenever you are fishing for Spanish mackerel. They are pretty toothy critters, and they will tear up your flies pretty quick. Also, you want to make sure you get started. You have a really nice sharp hook. This right here is an owner Aki hook, size 2, or 2/0, excuse me. It's very, very sharp. I've got a navy blue 6/0 thread, and I want to start right behind the eye of the hook. Just go ahead and get a base layer going. Trim off. Once you get a nice base layer, I'm going to start off with my first material, which is unique hair. I'm going to use it in white, and I'm also going to use a blue. That's going to make up the main part of this body. So I'm going to go ahead and take a strand of white, and I want to go ahead and attach that down. I'm going to go ahead and get a couple wraps starting, and I want to pull up. I want all the material to sit on top of the shank of the hook. So once I get my first wraps in, go ahead and trim everything off, and then go ahead and wrap back, getting a little bit tighter wraps. The next material I'm going to use is Crystal Mirror Flash in Pearlescent color. And I'm just going to basically go the same length as the unique hair that I've already laid down. And I'm going to keep this also sitting right on top of that unique hair. So go ahead and give it a little tug straight up so that it sits nice and flat right on top of that. This will kind of mimic that lateral line, give it a little bit of shine going through that surf, make it really stand out. Go ahead and get your wraps down. Once you do that, go ahead and give it some secure wraps and trim off the excess material. Kind of clean it up a little bit. And of course, the last material we're going to use here is the blue in the unique hair. And I'm actually going to tie this on the opposite direction. I want just a little bit hanging off the back, and I want the majority of it going off the front. Once I get a couple wraps, pull it up, make sure it's sitting nice and high on top of the rest of that material. Give it a couple secure wraps. And now I'm going to fold the rest of the material back over. And when I'm folding it over, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get it to kind of wrap around the material that I've already got tied on. I want to get kind of this tubular effect, kind of give it that dimension to that fish. And I definitely want to wrap down really tight here, make sure it holds its place, and I've got a nice spot to secure eyes. Once I do that, go ahead and wrap toward the eye of the hook. Make sure it all lays on there nice and neat. And go ahead and use my whip finish tool here. And I'm just going to go ahead and add 3 whip finishes to it to make sure it's nice and secure there. There will be epoxy placed on this particular lure, so the epoxy will hold it down. But this will just get it in place until you're ready to apply that epoxy. Trim it off and go ahead and prepare the eyes. Today I'm going to be using 1/4-inch oval pupil 3D eyes. I'm going to go ahead and attach one to one side and then attach the other one. It's very important that you get these lined up perfectly across from each other and sitting at the exact same height. You don't want the fly to kind of wobble or look off to a predator fish. Once you have them aligned properly, we're going to use some clear Cure Goo. I'm a big fan of this product. It dries almost instantly with a UV light. I'm going to put just a little bit between those eyes just to kind of secure them in place. And I'm going to kind of let it settle in there. I want it to kind of fill that gap between those eyes on the top of the fly here. Once it does that, go ahead and hit it with your UV light for a couple seconds. This stuff dries rapidly. And now I'm going to go ahead and give it the rest of the body. I want to make sure everything's lying down nice and straight, because once I do apply this epoxy, there's no going back. Go ahead and fill the bottom cavity, and just slowly go all the way around, getting a nice color on it. I kind of used the regular syringe there to kind of clean it up. You can always go back and add more, but I want to make sure I got a really nice round head on it so that it swims through the water nice and straight. This really helps with both these species of fish this is designed for, because they are very tough on their flies. This will add to the longevity of a fly. That way you don't have to go through as many of them. It is a very simple fly to tie, which is good, and you can crank out a bunch of them and be ready to go for the surf. And of course hit it with the UV light. It does take a little bit longer when you have more on there. I want to get it all the way around and make sure I get it cured all the way. And I got one last little spot. So I'm going to make sure it's all straight and trim it off. I like to leave it rather long, that way when I do get down to the surf and I can kind of see what is running, I can trim it as needed. Of course I can't add more material once it's done, but I can always cut it a little bit shorter. The nice thing about this is it is a synthetic material, so it is easy to cast with an 8 weight all the way up to a 10 weight with ease. It sheds all that water quickly on the first false cast, and basically you get that same presentation time and time again. Add a little bit of Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails to kind of finish it off, and pretty much you're done, guys. I really appreciate it, and join me again next Monday and we'll have another fly for you. Thanks.